on charges of engaging in various crimes or offenses against the state in relation to that SML scandal. We'll talk about what's happening in the health sector, where there's a health information system that has collapsed. The government says it was an act of sabotage. The previous administration says it was witch hunting against a company that was doing a good job. Then we'll talk about that bill that is claimed is being used by this government to gag free speech. Is it really? Please stay with us as we do the analysis in a bit.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Technology has helped various caregivers and professionals in the circles of autism to enhance their skills.
It will enhance their social interaction through virtual meetings.
The cost of the equipment needs to be made affordable, cheaper, so that people could use it and access it.
A lot of people can use, we are able to use shortcode, which is that once you have average network to even send SMS, it is able to answer certain questions.
People at the rural end should not be left out, because that would actually reduce this rural-urban migration.
Welcome to EdTech Monday. This is a platform for education technology discussions, and we have a focus on policymakers, entrepreneurs, and education ecosystem. EdTech Monday is a platform created by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with MEST Africa to bring EdTech entrepreneurs, policy stakeholders, and government together to deliberate on important issues within EdTech.
Watch EdTech Mondays on Mondays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with MEST Africa, only on Channel 1 TV. This November, something amazing is coming to Accra. Are you a farmer with fresh produce? Are you into fish farming, poultry, or livestock? Then get ready for the November edition of the AgriFair 2025. Yes, AgriFair 2025. It's happening on Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November. It's happening at the A4 Sutherland Children's Park, and it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. It's the ultimate weekend marketplace. From fruits and vegetables to poultry, livestock, and fish to agri-inputs and processing machinery, all at unbeatable farm gate prices. Whether you're selling or buying, this is your chance to connect, trade, and grow. Enjoy the freshest farm produce, sizzling kebabs, and a vibrant marketplace atmosphere all in one space. Register now and secure your spot. Call 0558-973-973 for more information. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, and Gersel.
You're welcome back. This is a big issue on Channel 1 Television and on 97.3 City FM. It's a Saturday morning. This is where you have to be for the analysis of the big stories. We have panelists who have opinions, who have interests, but which interests they will declare, and that helps you understand what their position is. as you make sense of the topical stories of the week. We assemble the issues, put them on the table, discuss them dispassionately, and do the analysis. My duty is to moderate the conversation, and I'm happy to do that with you, sitting in for Salon Kojo. And as you may have seen on our Twitter, Sami Wiafi, who has suddenly this morning decided to run to his village somewhere in Kwawu to go and take care of some very pressing needs. So he's not on the set. I am having to come out from the bush as a cowboy and come and do that for you. So I'm happy that we are here. What are we talking about today? A criminal law lecturer became special prosecutor, Ghana's second special prosecutor in the Fourth Republic. He has been at it with Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, Ken Ofori-Atta served as Minister for Finance for 7 years in the Akufo-Addo administration. He stands accused of engaging in acts against the law. The OSP has been looking for him. There's been red flag notices issued. There's been warrants of arrest and several other issues. He's been declared a fugitive. The big one now is that he's going to be charged by the end of the month because of his role in that contract, the SML contract. He's not the only one who has been accused and who would be standing trial. His personal assistant who served in office, according to the OSP, that person is also a fugitive of justice. He can also not be traced, and he is going to be charged alongside Ken Ofori-Atta. There will be about 3 or 4 former heads of the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Custom Division, and all of that. Then there's a member of parliament who was once also head of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. So these 6 persons, according to the OSP, would be put before trial for a number of issues. Let me give you a summary, as we've been putting together here in the Channel 1 newsroom, for you to understand a summary of what Kisi Ejabin, the OSP, or the SP rather, the Special Prosecutor, has been saying at a press conference this week.
The charges follow months of investigations by the Office of the Special Prosecutor into the SML GRA contracts, which are meant to enhance revenue assurance in the petroleum and mining sectors. The probe, according to the OSP, uncovered widespread irregularities in how the contracts were awarded and implemented, including statutory breaches, conflict of interest, and questionable payments. The Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin revealed that his office has gathered enough evidence to prosecute the individuals involved. He maintained that the SML contracts were unnecessary and that the company lacked both the technical and logistical capacity to deliver the services it was engaged to perform.
The OSP investigation shows that the total fees paid to SML under the transaction audit and external price verification contracts amount to 506,728,334 cedis, 21 pesos between July 2018 and December 2024. These payments were effected automatically, contrary to the terms of the various contracts, without reference to actual work done, and without the submission by SML of reports to the PCA and CTSB units for verification, and without the submission of invoices by SML, notwithstanding the reality that SML performed very minimally or at all by way of these contract services.
Meanwhile, the Special Prosecutor has dismissed reports of a rift between his office and the Attorney General's Department over the handling of the extradition process involving former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Mr. Ejabin clarified that the two institutions are collaborating closely on the case and that the extradition proceedings will go ahead regardless of the former minister's citizenship status.
So that's a report that has been put together by Hansen Ajiman of the Channel 1 newsroom on the Office of Special Prosecutor, the allegations that have been made, the findings. In fact, lawyers for Ken Ofori-Atta are not very happy with some of the things that the Special Prosecutor said. Suffice it to say, though, that the Special Prosecutor says is going to court. And this is similar, isn't it, to what the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has also been doing, where he calls a press conference to announce what he has found before going to court. And interestingly, one of them taught the other. Dr. Dominic Ayine taught Kisi Yeboah as a law student, and they've practiced together. They are friends. So you can say they were cut from the same piece of cloth. And so the modus operandi is very similar, is it not? We'll be talking to my panelists to find out if truly and really that modus operandi is an affront to the free speech and also the freedoms of the people who are accused. Following that, the President, John Dramani Mahama, issued a directive to the Minister of Finance to terminate that contract with SML. We'll be talking to the people who have been involved in this investigation and what they make of the findings and the decisions. Another story that has made the headlines this week, a very big story, has to do with an allegation or accusation being made by former Minister for Information, former Minister for Works and Housing, Member of Parliament for Ofuasia Yerebe, the Honorable Kojo Ponkroma. He has alleged that the government is intending to gag free speech, and this is contained in a draft bill which, mind you, is yet to be presented before Parliament. He says that he has seen that document, and in the document a lot of allegations or a lot of positions have been espoused in there. The clauses don't look good at all for the Ghanaian populace. He said that they are coming for you and I, and that by the time they are done, we will not be able to speak. That is what the Member of Parliament and former Minister of State is saying. So we'll be talking about that Cyber Security Amendment Bill, which is yet to be brought before Parliament. Then another thing we're looking at here on the big issue is the issue of our health system. If you've been going to any of our public hospitals, you would have noticed this in the past few weeks. In fact, I spoke to someone who said they went to the hospital and they were told to go and bring an exercise book to come and write their details. Because why? Our system that we know, which systems help the hospitals talk to each other, that system has collapsed. The Minister for Health called a press conference and said it was an act of sabotage on the part of the people who operated that particular system. Now, former Minister of Health, Dr. Okoboy, has come and defended that company, saying that that company did an excellent job and that company ought to continue. But this government has said, as of the time they came to office, that company's contract had expired. The company's contract expired on 31st December, and as a result, they have no option than to bring in a new company. So they have not necessarily terminated the contract of LIMS, or Lightwave as it is called, but rather it is a continuation of work. And he says there's a 4-week plan where all the hospitals will be integrated. Let's have a quick report summarizing that issue relating to our health information system in the hospitals and the back and forth between the Minister for Health and former Minister for Health. So the Minister for Health currently and the man he succeeded in office. In fact, I'll be bringing you that later. But let me come in studio and begin the conversation for this morning. I have from the United States of America, my former schoolmates, former SRC president at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, the man whose email address is Chino Achebe. I don't know how, but it's because he possibly loves that man so much. Manasseh Azuri Awini is an investigative journalist, once worked with the Fourth Estate. Manasseh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Sanda.
How is Abrochimem?
It's very cold.
Who sent you? Who called you?
The heat that drove me out of Ghana is hotter than the cold.
Well, you're suffering from heat. Now you've got cold, so you have to enjoy it. Anyway, good to have you this morning, and thank you so much for making time to be with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
In studio, I have the Member of Parliament for Efia, the Honorable Isaac Boamanyako. Honorable, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Umaru.
I have teased you people enough, so I can't tease you. I wanted to say you are the one of only 2 NPP MPs in the whole of Western region. Pathetic.
Very, very pathetic.
I'm sorry for you.
You see,
it's you must be very lonely. So wait, you know, following the election when the NDC people were trolling MPP, I remember they said the MPP caucus in Greater Accra, they can go to Parliament with one motorbike. So that the one MP will sit on front and carry the other 2 MP. In your case, your bicycle self can take you. Your whole caucus, Western Region caucus of MPPs.
Only 2, myself and the Member of Parliament.
How do you say 2 in Fanti?
Ebien.
Kafra.
And as you say, I can't.
I don't want that problem this morning. I don't want that problem. Let me start off with SML. Manasseh Azuri is the man behind this investigation here and 2 others, and like I said yesterday, the OSP gave them, the special prosecutor, not OSP, gave them a special commendation when he addressed the press. Manasseh, so let's talk about the work ab initio for those who may not have understood what exactly was involved. People keep hearing SML. You were the one who started shouting on the rooftops that there's some corruption happening. You went on, and now the special prosecutor has investigated, and it appears that there's been a corroboration of the work you did. I mean, kudos to you for that investigative piece, because as a journalist, nothing would be more fulfilling and satisfying than for you to do work and for that work to be confirmed by an independent authority that goes to do a second investigation in the work. Where did you start, seeing the smoke? For which reason you thought there was a fire that you had to delve in? And when you delved in, what did you find?
Well, thank you very much. My in-law, Honorable Buama, would tell you I have been interested in the affairs of, let's say, revenue, and done some work many years ago with, not with, but on transactions that affected revenue in the GRA. And then at the end of the day, and well, let me say my in-law, because my wife is from the Western region. So
it's good you clarified.
Have a way of doing things. By tomorrow, you find out somewhere that, yeah.
I was actually preparing a blog about that. I was going to say Manasseh marries MP's daughter, but it's okay, you continue.
Oh, my wife even asking me, who else do you have apart from me?
So your problems are big. Yes.
Yes, but I started having an interest in this matter when there were reports that some oil marketing companies, and by oil marketing companies, I mean those who sell to us at the fuel pumps, they lift the petroleum products from the depots, and every liter that you lift, there are tax components on the tax and revenue components. Some go to the GRA, others go to the MPA. So you are supposed to sell, take your margins, pay the owner of the petroleum product, and then give the tax component to the government. But many of these shady OMCs often absconded after selling and then making their profit. So systems started getting in place. And one of the systems was something they call the Enterprise Relational Database Management System, ERDMS, which is a platform, an online platform, which ensures that if anybody wants to load a petroleum product anywhere in this country, whether you are loading gasoline or diesel from Tema, Bupe, Kumasi, or Takrade, you go onto this system and then place the order. This order will be vetted by the MPA and the GRA. So if you loaded your previous one and then you were due to bring the money to the state and you have not paid, you'll be blocked out from loading again. This system is linked to the customs system, which they call ICOMS. And also it records the volumes that are lifted at the various depots. And if you go to every depot in this country, you would have customs officials there. So they have the keys to the depots. So if the owner of the petroleum product is there and the buyers are there and then you don't have the GRA officials, customs officials, that they will not lift. Then there was an issue of diversion, which was often cheated, or people cheated the system using the UPPF system. That ensures that a liter of petroleum product in Accra sells the same as the price in Bolga, because there is a system to flatten out transportation cost. So some would load and claim that they are going to discharge in Bolga and end up discharging in Sawam, but taking the amount that should have accrued if they had taken the product to Bolga. So the MPA introduced a tracking system. So if you go to the MPA today and anybody loads petroleum products in any tanker, an electronic seal is placed on that vehicle. so that if you don't get your destination and you tamper with the seal, it sends an automatic alarm to the NPA. Your location is detected and you can be arrested. So if you go to the NPA today, you will see live tracking of vehicles that are in Burkina Faso, Mali, Eastern region, everywhere in this country. So that is checking the diversion. And they brought fuel marking system, also another company, to check the dilution of petroleum products. So all these systems were put in place to ensure that the state's interest is protected and then the revenue that is due us is collected. In our investigation, we asked the GRA officials, head of petroleum, Mr. Samson Enim, who said that with the ERDMS, it ensures that the GRA is able to track its volumes. And once you're able to track your volumes, you're able to collect the appropriate taxes. Besides all of these, we found out that another company by name SML, now we know that it used to be SMEL, smell, and perhaps they didn't like the smell of it, so they changed it to SML, which has still not taken the smell away anyway. But this company claimed to be doing under the checking under declaration, diversion, dilution, and it stated these functions on its website, that this is what it did, and it stemmed the tide in the downstream petroleum sector. When we finished our investigation, we went to SML, and we actually first interviewed the GRA officials who said that no, SML was not performing these functions. So the day my team went to interview SML, there were at least 6 or so officials from the customs division of the GRA. We went together, including the head of the department. And they even started a conversation that Manasseh and his people say, you are doing ABC. And SML said, no, we never stated that. So I went to their website and read it to them. And they admitted, well, it may have been a mistake, somebody put it there. So by the close of the day, the company took this out of their website. So that tells you that the downstream petroleum sector that the company claimed to be providing those services, it wasn't doing any of them. Then there were 2 other contracts at the ports that SML had: external price verification and transaction audits. And I don't want to speak so much about whether or not those functions were also giving us value for money. This is what the president's white paper, and I'm talking about President Akufo-Addo's white paper from the KPMG report, said of this contract, that the transaction audits and external price verification services may also be terminated. According to KPMG's findings, GRA obtained partial value or benefit from those services. This was also due to a lack of monitoring on the part of GRA to ensure that SML performed the services as stipulated in the contracts. KPMG, and this is the important part, KPMG's investigations found that GRA has introduced external price verification tools as part of ICONS, among its other functions. This renders reliance on SML for external price verification redundant. These are not my words, these are the words of the Presidency of the Republic of Ghana at the time of President Akufo-Addo, based on the KPMG findings. And these 2 contracts were terminated. And it is interesting to say that these services that we are told were redundant, the country has paid SML 506 million Ghana cedis for these services. 506 million Ghana cedis for services that the president said were redundant because customs was already doing it. And when in our investigation we said that the services were not needed, people questioned it is one of them. And 2, the downstream petroleum measurement audit, we know that the measurement SML was doing, GRA was not using them for revenue purposes. GRA was using the existing meters that were there before SML was introduced. Those are the meter readings GRA used for its taxes. Then in 2023, in June, despite adequate evidence that this company was doing practically nothing to add value to the state, the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, caused a letter to be written. And that letter, I just want to read. It was written on the dated 22nd June 2023. The title is Expansion of the Scope of Work by Mrs. Strategic Mobilization Limited. And this letter is signed by Ernest Akore, Chief of the Cabinet, who we are now told is at large with Ken Ofori-Atta. The letter says, the Honorable Minister has determined that there is a need to monitor the production and shipment of gold and oil out of the country. To this end, he would like to expand the scope of the revenue assurance work being performed by SML to include petroleum oil drilling by the oil production companies and the gold mining companies. This contract was eventually signed in October 2023. And it is instructive to know the keywords. It is the minister who determined, because the Minerals Commission and the Petroleum Commission, when we wrote to them, they said they knew nothing about them, these deals, because they were or are still regulators of these sectors. Then it is the minister who decided, Ken Ofori-Atta, that the scope should be expanded. The expansion had a clause that dealt with the payment, that every barrel of oil Ghana produced, SML should be entitled to $0.75. And when we did a calculation per the production quantities, this was translating to about $120,000 every single day with drilled oil. Then in the mining sector, we were told that contract said 0.75% of total production of gold. If you look at the billions of dollars that gold is giving us this year because of the gold prices and increment of the production and everything, SML would just have been making millions of dollars for works that we do not know, because the revenue has increased in the sector without SML's contract being implemented, and the company would have taken credit. So when we did our calculation, this company was to be entitled to over $100 million every single year. And if you take the first 5 years of the contract, we are talking of over $500 million. And now that gold prices are skyrocketing, our estimates then, I think, were even too conservative. So this is what the contract is about. Services that the company was performing, which were redundant because existing systems were already in place. And then Ken Ofori-Atta again wanted us to increase it. And when we asked SML whether in their revenue assurance operations, there had been a single situation when they caught a company, an oil marketing company, doing something that was illegal, they said no, not once did they ever flag a company. So the assumption and the issue that, well, we came to stop the leakages, it is false. GRA officials, customs officials are working very hard at every single depot. If they do not open the valve, you cannot load. There are already meters there calibrated by the Ghana Standards Authority, and these meters are more accurate than the meters of SML. So the question is, why pay over 1.4 billion cedis to a company whose services lack value for money. A company which the PPA denied single source approval on 3 separate occasions because it said SML did not have any experience or capacity to deliver. And we wrote to the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. Their act says that to provide services of auditing and accountancy, you should be licensed by the institute. If you fail to obtain a license, you could be fined, jailed, or both. And we asked, does SML have the license to do these works? The letter they responded to us said no. So many violations of the law, many breaches of common sense, and it appeared people who were behind this deal did not act in the interest of the state. And finally, it is interesting to add that a former head of legal at the GRA now works for SML. The former technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the GRA, Christian Tetesoti, now works for SML. The former Commissioner of Customs, Isaac Krensel of the GRA, now works for SML. So even if the service was needed, the question we should be asking is, if you had the capacity to manage these revenue assurance services and you were at GRA, why did you outsource it to another company? And then when you left GRA, you went to that company to provide those same services to the GRA. So, Sanda, these are some of the sticking points of this murky transaction that has been thankfully cancelled by President John Dramani Mahama, and I highly recommend him for commend him for such an action.
Your in-law has been laughing and smiling in the studio, asking why, because it sounds as if he's not agreeing with you. But to summarize in a simple sentence, is it the case that SML was created purposely to take our resources without working for it? Or the intention was good, but some way, somehow, things didn't go as planned? What's your reading of the SML contract?
I don't know why they were created, but I know they were created immediately after this, the MPP came into office. And I know when we asked them, and the company was formed in 2017. So we are in the 8th year now. And what we know is that this company doesn't have any other contract apart from GRA. It doesn't perform any other service to anybody. The only other time we found some workers of the SML trying to get to the airport was a certain company owned by the same SML man, Evans Eduse, got a revenue assurance contract at the airport. And this company is actually a mining company with only one employee, hadn't paid taxes for 2 or so years. Senate filing showed that it had only one employee, and we tried to realize that when it finally won the contract, SML people were going to. So I don't know exactly why they formed this company, but from the transactions I have seen, the works and the payment they have received, it is not something I would do in all good conscience.
So they don't have a track record of having worked anywhere. They have not, prior to the time they were given this contract, existed?
Not at all. This contract, the company was formed on Valentine's Day.
Oh, really?
Of 2017. And they started getting very sweetheart deals from the government.
So it was a beautiful gift to the country.
Let me say, only the GRA. The PPA on 3 separate occasions rejected single source approval for this company. And the reason was that they have no track record anywhere.
Okay.
And the Ken Oforiatta we know, who has built successful businesses, would not use his own resources or the resources of his companies to engage in these services.
Very well.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Manasseh, please stay with me. I'm going to engage my other guests and then I'll come back to you. So Manasseh Azuri, when he's speaking to us on Zoom, he's in the US now where he's studying, but he did his work as an investigative journalist with the Fourth Estate. Before I come to my guest to start here, let me introduce my other guests online. Alhaji Yunus Afuseni was a member of parliament for Tamale Central until one day he decided, he wasn't voted out. He now decided not to go. He's a lawyer. Counsel, good morning.
Good morning, Umar. And you are a people, student lawyer.
Yes, hoping to become like you.
Yeah, Umar.
Hope you are well,
How
sir.
are you?
I'm well. I'm
fine.
Yes. Your neighbor's daughter became the valedictorian or the Mensa Saba of the graduating class. And I mean, he's your namesake too.
The Mensa Saba.
Yes.
The ultimate.
Thank you. Your namesake.
She broke the glass ceiling. That's my cousin.
Oh, yeah. So you and ABF Hussein are related?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I'll teach you proverbs. Let me go to the other network, the other Zoom platform, and speak to someone I have not met and spoken to in a long time. Franklin Kujo, you're welcome to The Big Issue.
As always, a pleasure to hear from you. Good morning to my good friends on the call.
Good morning. The first time I hosted The Big Issue, Franklin was a guest, and so was the next person who will be joining us very soon, Senyo Hosi. It's nice to see you again. You have abandoned me, but Imani Africa, we used to be friends. Please remember me, Franklin.
You are remembered.
Thank you. Honorable Obama, let me start with you. You've listened to Manasseh Azuri. Everything he has said suggests that this was a classic case of create, loot, and share. Or even if you are not sharing, at least you are creating to loot. Who you give it to, that one we don't know. Are you offended listening to the findings both by the journalist and the special prosecutor?
Thank you very much, Umaru, and a very good morning to our cherished viewers, Franklin and Alhaji Yunus Afuseni, Manasseh Azuri, and all, and to the good people of Ifeanyi constituency and the Western region. Manasseh, I've known Manasseh for a long time now. I know the work that Manasseh has been doing in this country in terms of investigative journalism. And being in GRA, he had actually worked with me on a number of issues that he had concerns about in his investigative work. So it's refreshing that at least he did this work. But I've been smiling on studio and I've been very alarmed and concerned about the whole SML issue and how we have treated it. You see, as a country, if we are not very careful, we would just be making a lot of assumptions. We would impugn on the integrity of people and even businesses. And if we are not very careful, we are going to destroy a lot of good initiatives that people would have brought on board to support this country. You see, GRA sat as an independent organization. If you take the GRA Act, the GRA is a body corporate established by law, and it has capacity to enter into contract by itself. And GRA has a mandate. The mandate of GRA is to collect revenue and account same to government. And GRA has the right to enter into any agreement or contract that it believes will assist and facilitate its work in terms of revenue generation and collection activities. And so a lot of contracts have been signed by GRA over time to assist GRA in its revenue performance work. Whether it's about the systems that GRA use at the domestic tax revenue level, whether it is about the system we put in place at the customs division, like we used to have Unipass and then the ICOMs and the rest, and then many other contracts that GRA signs in terms of its revenue assurances work.
SML came into operation according to, as Manasseh indicated, in 2017. Okay. JRA would ordinarily receive contracts from people, proposals from people trying to justify why they think their services will be beneficial to the authority. The authority has a board that reviews its proposals, or management present those proposals to the board. And then at the end of the day, if the board thinks that it is good enough for the company to be engaged, they go ahead and do it. The fact that a company's name is submitted to Public Procurement Authority and it is declined or rejected once, twice, or thrice doesn't necessarily mean that the import of the work that the company intended to do for the purposes of GRA is ill-intended. Many proposals go to PPA, and PPA may either tell you to go and revise the contract sum, or go stop single source and go for competitive bidding, and so on and so forth. Let me contextualize this for purposes of what Manasseh indicated. And I'm not here to hold brief for anybody.
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking at this from a pure GRA as a body corporate entering into a contract, and then GRA repeatedly justifying why the activities or the work of SML inured to the benefit of GRA.
Even though it has been established now that everything SML has come to do was already being done, and that the work of SML is either superfluous or totally unneeded. For instance, on the work that they did at the port, GRA was already doing that according to what Azuri has established. With the NPA or the downstream petroleum sector, NPA already had trackers. So what really was the work of SML? That's the question.
Exactly, and that is where we get it wrong. Because NPA is established for its own purposes, to do its work. And GRA also has a reason for its existence. Now, if NPA has a system that provides it with data or information about petroleum products and how it is moved, that is completely different from GRA looking at petroleum products from a tax revenue assurance perspective. And so it depends on how GRA, if GRA is in the known that NPA has this system and that system is good enough for GRA's revenue assurances and it can be tweaked for its purposes, you can always have interagency collaboration. But if GRA on its own believes that this is how I want to contract an entity or a company to do for me, and the company does that, and GRA is satisfied with it, it shouldn't be a problem.
But you see, the next thing you have to consider is that, so GRA, even though it's a non-human being, it is considered a human being in the legal sense, right? However, there are human beings who run the GRA.
That is correct.
And these human beings have been found by the OSP and the investigative journalists who have acted against the interests of the state. That is why they have been added to the list of people to be prosecuted. So the view is that these people you call GRA were actually real human beings who had an intention to offend the law, and that's why they are being prosecuted. So the GRA as a body corporate may be said to have signed this, but when indeed and in fact it is some people which people are going to be prosecuted.
You know, and that is where I want us to tread very cautiously, because the GRA could go into agreement and contract. The GRA, welcome my brother Senor, you know, the GRA may take a decision to enter into the contract, as I said. Individuals may have taken decisions, and the issues the OSP may be raising could be procedural breaches, it could be administrative breaches. But at the end of the day, the question I always want to find out is that, did the work that SML do for GRA over the period of time satisfactory to the agency or the company that contracted it? And I'm saying that GRA consistently have defended the work that they came to do.
Okay.
So if somebody sits somewhere and you are dissatisfied, you are entitled to it.
Okay.
And then if people I wouldn't leave GRE from where I was. And
you work at GRE. Are you honestly saying that?
So you have not introduced you to the show. Your microphone
I
is
introduced
on. No, your show is mic is off. If you have talked, sorry, Honorable Bama, talk to me. Ignore him. Ignore him. Pretend he's not in the studio.
Right. So for me, what gets me worried is the fact that if people have issues with the processes and procedures to which the company was contracted, and you could see from OSP's narration, and Manasseh indicated, SML 3 times went to public procurement, it was rejected. Finally, they got them on contract before it went to PPA for ratification. By the time it went back to PPA for ratification, the question is, what did JRA present to PPA in terms of the work that SML was doing?
Very well.
That PPA got satisfied with it and got it ratified. So fast forward to the prosecution or intention to prosecute. It is within the remit of the OSP to do that. And I have said time and again that OSP has been out there every time making one press conference or the other. Why don't you go with your charges in court?
No, it's time and tide.
Oh, please. For almost 1 year now.
The wheels of justice, they grind slowly.
This is not justice. You would come to the public domain, you make all these press releases and press statements.
He learned from his teacher.
You know, so
I'll come back to you. And I also come to Azuri. Azuri, since you're following us from there, I would come and ask you specifically at any point GRA as a body corporate has come to say to us that the work of SML was not satisfactory, whether the GRA of old or the GRA of new. I'll be happy if you can tell us. Because it appears he says there was a contract between GRA and SML. GRA is satisfied. So if GRA is satisfied, why are we crying?
Even the GRA of new, when this new administration of NDC came, and this story had been running right when
they haven't come out to say
the GRA continued to engage SML in the area of the downstream petroleum.
Until yesterday, when the president directed that.
Even initially, there was a direction for GRA to terminate the contract. But then based on information and the work that their analysis showed, they felt that, of course, even if they have to terminate, they need to engage it for a while, put in place systems that can feed them similar or better.
So for you, if it was broken, why did we keep it running? Let me introduce Let me introduce the rabble rouser in my studio. Senor Hosi, he attended Tema Secondary School, my school, so I cannot attack him. He's my senior anchorite. He's also
you are repositioning yourself.
Yeah, because I don't want trouble. He is also coordinator of the organization I belong to, One Ghana Movement. We've been organizing things. But he's CEO of Cleve and Tove, or Cleve and Tove, which is written on the shirt. Fonya, you're welcome. How are you?
Good morning.
Everything under control?
Everything under control. But this morning, as I usually do these days when I come here, I want to commend His Excellency the President for the work they are doing on Ghana. I'm saying, but His Excellency the President, Maraku kingpins are worried.
He doesn't understand ever.
Where are the kingpins?
They've withdrawn, they've laid...
Where are the kingpins, Your Excellency?
Give him a list.
Very well. No, he should give us the list.
No, you know the kingpins.
I don't know the kingpins. He came and he said that the small boys should not be caught. We should release the small boys, but it's the kingpins we should go after. And I agree with him. So if after 10 months, we are not reminding him, in fact, yes, it's after 10 months, we are not reminding him of the kingpins, then we have a problem. We need the kingpins. Without dealing with the kingpins, Ghana, I'm saying it's not going anywhere. So, Your Excellency, I beg you, kingpins are, what they?
But what if the kingpin is at Jubilee House?
That is the problem.
I'm not saying there's one at Jubilee House. Let me go on the
Previously, there was some there.
Currently,
there are some also going there.
But so they've not reached there yet.
Oh, they are around it.
Yeah, you know that.
Very soon they'll take a seat.
You know the military checkpoint when you're going to Jubilee, they've reached there.
It is getting lax by the day.
Let me go. Let me come to. Let me go on Zoom. Honorable Alhaji Nusa Hussaini. Let's look at this from a legal point of view, and that's what the Honorable Member of Parliament in studio has led our mind to. He says GRA, a legal corporate, is allowed to engage in a contract. So if they have done that, which they have done previously, why should this one be problematic, and why should we be talking about this? I would want you to tie that in with you as someone who has once been a public officer. When you're signing contracts of this nature, what are the considerations? Okay, I'm told that I'm not... Alaji, do I have you?
Popo, you have me?
Yes.
I'm greeting you in full.
You should say Jamwali, which is a greeting for good morning, or Dasuba in Dagbani, so that I will respond and say, nah.
Jamwali.
I don't see you. I don't see you. Please switch on your camera. Let me see whether you have aged or you're still looking. Yesterday I was with your lawyer niece, by the way, cousin.
Why are you? I can't switch it on. I don't know why.
I went to learn. For classes. I'm not seeing you. Are you born before?
I don't know why my Zoom is off.
Maybe you are born before computer. So you try and be clicking on the camera icon on your screen.
So I've done it.
Okay, and now you speak to me. You are on now. Yeah, you are on now. Go ahead.
Now, so you see, my brother Umar, it is not for nothing that we are a country of laws. That even though we establish legal personalities, we've also established institutions that will control the exercise of their power or their discretion. Now, because discretion uncontrolled and check leads to corruption and leads to rent seeking. So when you enter into a contract of this nature, the first is that the contract must meet a certain threshold. And that threshold is how do you go about executing the contract? That is why the PPA is established. That our public resources must be spent in a way that meets the expectation of the people. You can't take the contracts to the marketplace to ask the people whether it meets their expectation. There are guardrails. That guardrail, one such guardrail is the PPP. So when the PPP falls your contract,
PPA,
says that
PPA, Public Procurement Authority.
Yes, the PPA.
Yeah.
PPA. When there's a body that guards and ensures that contracts are for value and that public resources are spent in a way that will bring benefit to the people of this country. So that particular important legal safeguard, which is in the form of an institution, ought to be satisfied. Two, a contract of this nature also requires that you send it to Parliament for parliamentary approval. Mind you, these are public resources. Paying SML is the utilization of public resources to engender.
I thought the holding in the isophoton and all those cases, for a case to be an agreement to be taken to Parliament for ratification, it must be a company that is international in nature. Is SML considered an international company where the agreement would then become international, for which reason we should have gone to Parliament for ratification?
Well, so you don't forget the initial audit report that was done by KPMG.
Mm-hmm.
KPMG. KPMG. You remember their recommendation? You remember what the president said?
Remind us.
The KPMG has said that they had not met the constitutional threshold of sending the matter to Parliament for scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
And President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said that they ought to have done that.
Okay.
You recall?
Okay.
And said that they ought to rectify those things. And on the mission of the fact that there were some lapses that had not been done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important. Now, when you look at the circumstances surrounding the contract, the entry into the contract with the SML, you'll be left with no doubt that there was some level of lack of transparency, some opacity, opaqueness in the way the contract was entered into. And as a student lawyer, you will know that when parties are entering into a contract, and it's not a contract which is above the table, but under the table, you have reasons to suspect that the mode that they have chosen for the purposes of entering into a contract smells, and it smells because they don't want the public to know. So that's the first thing you'll be alerted to that.
Mm-hmm.
That why didn't they want to do the obvious, the necessary? Why didn't they want to shine light on the contract? Why did they choose the method they chose? Why did the PPA say that these particular contracts should have been exposed to competitive tendering so that you can take the best. Why did they reject sole sourcing?
But if PPA eventually gave them the green light, does that not negate all the red lights that were previously given?
Why did they have to give them eventually? Again, as a student of law, you have to ask a question. Why did they eventually have to give them the green light after 3 refusals?
Because they put their house in order, perhaps?
No. Is it because they were compelled to do that? Was there some underhand dealing, or was there a force that was brought to bear on them to do the bidding of somebody? Am I entitled to think that way? So you see, this is why the contract raises more questions than answers.
Okay.
The first question is, when the president directed, consequent upon Manasseh Azuri's expose and the auditing of the contract by KPMG, and some infractions were found, why didn't the president then drop the hammer? Why didn't he? Was it because of the persons involved? So you see, there are questions. There really are questions.
I will come back. I have a question for you.
We have also seen that clearly the OSP started the investigations long before the MPP left office, and probably picked it from where Manasseh Azuri left, and was convinced that some wrongdoing had been done. And 2 days ago, addressed a press conference, and we saw that the conviction that wrongdoing had been done, at least by the press conference that was held by the OSP, has clearly been established. Now, I join Senator Nyebro, my brother, to congratulate the president on taking action on this matter. Now, Honorable Boatin says, yes, it's a legal personality. I agree. But what value have SMG brought
SML.
to the GRA and SML brought to the GRA and by extension the people of this country?
If they had not, after the reset on December 7, which was gazetted on January 7, SML would have been sent back in the following day or the following hour. We saw Donald Trump negate and cancel contracts immediately after he was sworn in. Why did we wait for 10 months? His point, the MP's point is that if it was not good, would have thrown it out long ago after the reset.
That there must be a legal basis. You see, when you are going, and Donald Trump has done that, and he's come under immense criticism from the people of America. So there must be a legal basis, rational legal basis.
Okay.
Or if you want, a necessary logical step to be taken by the executive.
Honorable,
consequent upon.
I intend to come back to you because you've been a minister before. Ken Ofori-Atta is going to be one of the people to be prosecuted. I'll ask you the question of how, when the buck stops with a person, what due diligence they have to do, and at what point you can absolve them of wrongdoing, and whether or not Ken Ofori-Atta can be absolved of any wrongdoing. Please stay with me. Honorable, I'll come to you. Let me bring in Franklin. Franklin, you have been in the anti-corruption space. You were part of all those organizations that took on President Mahama in his first term, and you also took on Akufo-Addo in his administration. You are still heading Imani Africa. From the eagle or the bird's eye view perspective that you look at these things, listening to Azuri, listening to the OSP, and seeing the SML issue, a statement on all the issues around, does it smell like a duck, where a duck is corruption?
Well, this is an elephant. It is not a but first of all, let me just say that we need to thank Azuri for excellent work he keeps doing. And I think that it is important to highlight the fact that, look, this fight, if it looks to me that the whole corruption fight has been left for a few guys to undertake, and it's worrying. It's really worrying. I mean, I feel strongly that the things we've heard so far, by the way, this is SML, the things we are hearing, the things we've seen, I mean, I am mortified, really, really mortified. I don't know if you noticed that we started this, whatever, good for oil thing. And then the number of, I mean, the ministers that we know, about 70 of them, I think that we have files on. These are files from the Western world, by the way. I mean, these guys, when they still do stuff, they can hide them forever. It doesn't work that way. So, look, I'm not astonished. I'm just worried that I think we've left the fight for a few people, and until we really get a lot more people talking about these issues and maybe getting angry, we're in a very sorry state. We're in a very, very sorry state, and I worry greatly. So, look, back to the issue. I think the SML thing is it's cancerous. You know, beyond it being a duck and an elephant, it's just cancerous. I just can't imagine that every level of proprietary it fails. Financial, policy. What you know, and what even hurts me. What hurts me is that there seems to be no proper guiding policy as to how these things should actually be done. I mean, the question is, what was the level of need? Could it have been done by some software costing less? You know, could it have been done even by changing a few, should I call it terms of reference? What's the word I want? Some SOP within GRA. Could it have been done with that? It looks as if when people dream up all kinds of projects and then they just bring them along, they try to manufacture a need. I don't get it. I've never understood this type of thing. They say, okay, wait, this one is electronic. You can check the thing. You remember Kennedy?
But so the point is that they need, okay, so this is their work, GRA, generate revenue. If you can bring in a third party to help you, do it. NPA needs them, bring them on board. We're looking for revenue. And now at the time, there was a lot of struggles. If SML can help us do it, bring them on.
You know, and the question I'm asking myself is GRA so weak and so illiquid that they can't purchase some very little software to do this type of work? I don't even understand. Look, I remember I used to work with a company, advise a company. They tried working with NPA to check all this fraud and all of that. It didn't cost much. It was a very simple thing. But eventually, because their system was too legit and too good, they chucked them out of the system. So because they couldn't pay bribes and all of that. I mean, it didn't even cost that. It didn't even cost $1 million or something that I know. This was years back, by the way. And so what I'm trying to say is that these people who actually sit together, plan stuff, and then use the power of politics to go and press basically the necks of all these, I call them bureaucrats, and then they also bow. Sometimes when they see the money, they just bow. I mean, I'm mortified that some of the people. Anyway, I don't make judgment on people's whatever, but I'm surprised that the gentlemen who have been are going to be charged. I mean, I look at them and these are people who are really, truly restricted, right? So the question you ask again, is it the case that if an institution like GRA wants to maximize revenue, why should they always be at the beck and call of some people who manufacture stuff? This SML thing, you know how quickly, if Manasseh are not found out, right? This have been quickly just dealt with quietly. There was even no conversation in the media. You know, if you are doing something that is obviously beneficial to the country, GRA should even come and tell us publicly, oh, guys, you know, we've been trying to maximize revenue, revenue to GDP, Ghana is too low. Averagely across on the continent, it's supposed to be about 18%. We are doing 13%, 12%. We want to move it to about 15%. We think this machine or this system would move us from the current 12% to maybe 12.5% or 13%.
Okay.
You know, when you walk people through, and then you give them, and then you make the estimations, we'll then come and be asking questions. But you didn't do that.
So
you sat somewhere.
So the secrecy around it raises red flags, you think?
But you see, the point I'm making is about the policy guide to some of this, taking on some of the decisions.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, you don't walk people through it, you don't have suspicions.
Okay.
It's just like Kelly, sorry, just once, 30 seconds. But just like Kelly, a deputy minister in the last administration, by the way, the NPP administration, just found out that Asla and Ken were going to sign this contract quietly. They didn't even tell cabinet. Cabinet members didn't even know about Kelly GVG. You'll be shocked. I once got wind of it, but midnight. That's when they brought it to us. Said, hey, this thing, it won't work. But they managed to find money to pay it because they created an account at the Ministry of Finance called but that account, by the way, I thought was told about that account that I don't know if BDD will move into Upa. And he said, hell no, I'm not going to eat from any money. I'm telling you, I'm seriously telling you. That's where they were paying Kelly GVG from. That's account.
So that's a connection. That's a connection account.
A connection account. So it doesn't go through the consolidated account, so you never see. That's why I thought I was able to plug the tax loophole with 2% of that tax. They call it tax refund amount, right? Tax, what's the name? Yeah, tax refund amount. Exactly. It's there, sitting there. How
much?
Young changing. So the point I'm making, I think so. If anybody comes to tell you we're introducing something, please this time around, let's all discuss it. Bring it to the public and let's discuss it before you actually go and sign.
Very well.
You don't go and sign something, then when you are caught, you come claiming that you have some expertise involved. No, I'm a fan. Hey,
don't attack the whole ethnic group. I'm a whole petrol from centuries now. They pump it for you before technology came. Let me bring you. There's a petrol seller in the studio. He used to sell petrol.
Okay, so
Senor.
The SML thing is a very sorry story as far as policy is concerned. It's an embarrassing matter. It was the policy case for SML, interestingly, was built on my work.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the fact of
your
it.
work at
the Seaboard.
Okay, at Seaboard.
I was responsible for I was publishing. I mean, the Seaboard was publishing the petroleum industry reports, and I was the chief editor, and I led the analysis for evaluating the tax leakages because there's a lot of illegality happening within the petroleum sector. One had to do with quality breaches, the other had to do with revenue breaches. We distorted market pricing and all that. So we had a need to look into it. And consistently we were reporting on an annual basis a huge negative delta. The first report I think came in 2017 against 2016's performance. And we had to make presentations to EMT a number of times. It was very easy to solve, in our opinion. I think that DMB, Dr. Baumia, and I commend him very much for it. And it's quite one of my disappointments with Ken Ofori-Atta. I think that if your government at the time had worked well with the vice president and you had given him a proper place, a lot of these things wouldn't have happened. If DMB would be honest, he told me straight in my face that he was embarrassed by this arrangement. And we discussed it.
He did not like what was happening?
Of course. Bamia did not. He didn't sign up to this. This is a pure Ken Ofori-Atta matter. Ken Akori and the SML guy, Evans, what's his name? Eduse. Frankly, interesting enough, his name never shows up. You should stop chasing, what's that man's name? The former Soti. You should stop. Soti is a worker. He doesn't own SML. He's a worker. He's a staff. He's an old man worker.
What about...
The real face you should go and look for is Evans Eduse.
Who is he?
He is the owner.
So this
was a private person.
And so but when the people keep talking about SML,
but a director has to be held responsible.
I'm telling you that Soti says he's a worker. He's a worker in the front. So it's not any. You abuse Soti unfairly. This scheme. Let me finish my matter. People don't understand what has happened, and I apologize to my brother Manasseh. he wanted a lot of information from me when he was doing his work. I was constrained cooperating with him because at the time I was leaving the chamber, I think, and we were setting up to give GRA a service to solve that problem. You know, so if I went ahead to speak about it, it would have been a bit of some sour grapes or something, which, and you know, when we were doing our solutions, we didn't have anything to do. We didn't even think of SML at all. Another interesting fact, I was part of the team that edited Keno Foriate's speech going to launch SML.
Really?
Yes.
You are complicit.
I'm not complicit. I will explain. I mean, I have to put out the facts there so you contextualize my place in this conversation.
You are declaring your interest.
This is what happens. I published this report and I said Ghana is losing so much money. And it's not too difficult to find. As a petroleum sector, we have a data repository that sits at the NPA. All right? This data repository can be used as a basis for validating actual transactions because the NPA pays monies against this thing to other service providers. So if NPA is able to pay against 10, you should be able to know what GRA2 should get. Because NPA cannot be paying people a bill against 10 and GRA is collecting revenue against 6 or 7. So it is a very simple thing to calculate. Everybody here, if I teach you, you will know how to do it. Then there's another part that gets a little technical, where the volumes that come into the country are not fully accounted for. Yeah. So that one also becomes a leakage outside what we call official, losses on accounted sales, and then we also have losses on unaccounted sales. I was responsible for that report. Kano Foriata, when we had it done, set up, DMB directed together with Ken then, the first time I published this report. I was brought to EMT. I made my presentations. Then they set up a committee made up of Akori, Amisha Dai, and myself for us to go and deal with the matter. So I told them all we have to do is to set an audit with EY. I mean, they opted to use EY, and I recommended EY as well. I would recommend EY any day because they had done the FX loss audit for the BDCs. And Shetekpe will tell you, when we came first to do the BDCs were claiming the FX losses, I was the one heading the chamber. I told him that the claims here shouldn't be negotiated. It must be audited. The fact that I'm the chamber head doesn't mean that what my people have brought me are necessarily right or not right. I don't know. I can agree in principle, but the numbers here, I don't know. So everything must be subjected to audit. And I like the work that EY did. And it cuts down a lot of the claims that my own members had put. I needed to live with whatever it is because whatever mandate I have to my people is always subject to the interest of the state at all times. And that's something we must all remember. So I work for the chamber, but subject to what is in the superior interest of the state. The government wanted to negotiate with me. I said, no, audit. So in the same case, in this instance, I advise that the first thing to do is to audit. If I, sitting at the chamber, using secondary data, published by the GRE, published by the Ministry of Finance, published by the MPA, and I can establish easily that you are losing so much money, why can't you yourself even do that yourself on a daily basis? And I'm doing it retrospectively and doing it on an annual basis. It takes me a long time for me to collect data. Okay. So I beg you need to understand the SML problem.
I'm getting you, but
no,
you see,
you,
I want us.
You wait.
But I want no, Senator. I have to
let me land so you understand the gap.
Yeah, you are taking time to land. So I want to.
Okay.
You land.
See, that committee was set up. EY was appointed. Guess what happens? EY establishes that even though Senior had estimated about 4 or 3 billion in the losses, the real losses were like 5 billion. Red flags. We now need to know who and who is responsible for that loss. Guess what happens? We go to GRE. We need minute data. We need some detailed information. All of a sudden, the data gets missing in GRE. in the name of transitioning from GCNet to ICOMS. I'm telling you how corrupt the institution is. You understand? That whole thing stalled. We go to Ken Oforiatta, and I tell Ken that this thing is still happening. And when we're meeting at his conference room in there, this thing is still happening. And I think that you can plug it very easily. The work I do on an annual basis, the state can just commission a few officers to be doing it, and you always see who has stolen the money, and you plug the gap. It's not hard. He gave me some theory. He explained to me, this was in 2020, and I think that they did SML launch in June, right? So because of my reports, they sent me his speech for me to review, and I said, yes, we needed to trace everything. I thought they were just going to do metering. I didn't know how much money they were going to charge. I didn't even understand how much it will cost. Today I can tell you how much that metering costs. The money they pay SML in 2 months will pay for the whole infrastructure. If GRA wants to own it, there's nothing special that has happened. All right? I tell him that we should have this done. Ken's first comment is that, Senor, you know,
he doesn't speak like that.
You don't know what happened. You were not there. Don't bring yourself.
Okay,
Senor, since Buzia got ousted, the country has not been the same till Nanado came back. And we are going to elections. You know, sometimes we talk much cooler. Sometimes I'll confuse his own with Nanado. Yeah, and Wuntumi has been calling him. This person has been calling him that this work we are doing is creating trouble. So, what do I think we should do? Because this can disrupt the elections in 2020. Then, before this, he has quoted Bible. He has quoted Bible and he was wearing white.
Senor.
No, my brother, I'm coming. I brought the matter to you.
Breach of secrecy.
Oh, this is not secrecy. This was a meeting that the EY was even seated there.
Okay.
And I told him that, Ken, he's a minister. We need the detailed data now. So at least we know who and who. We can put numbers clearly to everybody who has stolen the money. Do your elections. 7th January, Nanado is not running again. We'll go and collect the money for you. But seeing the next thing we hear, SML is being paid this 24 million. Just like that. For what? They say metering. And I didn't understand why metering. If you want to solve the problem, first of all, you did not know the problem. I was the one who knew the problem. I brought the problem to the fore. Have you sat down with me to discuss with me who understands the problem, how to solve it? You saw this thing as a gig. Soti and Eduse and go. After Eduse, he lost the ICOMS. He lost the ICOMS transaction. He lost it to Nick, to Ghana Lake. So I think there was a way they were trying to compensate him or what. I don't know. Then you give this guy this transaction. Now look at what SML is doing. SML just bought meters, ultrasonic meters. I don't want to say I swear here. Look, the total cost of that infrastructure, that was even suboptimal because it was not even a mass meter. It was just volumetric. The whole cost of that infrastructure is less than $3 million. Install it, put another $1 million. It is strapping. I don't know, like you take this thing, you
put a rope around it.
That is all it is.
Like they do to your bag at the
That
airport.
is all it is. And then you have a monitoring system. As in, it's just a TV. Whatever is happening on that thing will show. So every flow that goes through, you see. The truth of the matter that GRA did not even know what to use that data for. And I'll tell you why I got to look and understand the SML thing better after this 2020 meeting. I've edited things. I like the idea of monitoring the molecules, which I didn't have a problem with. I didn't know what the commercial arrangements were. I even thought that they were going to use it to deepen the analysis that I was already doing. But I didn't see anything. Subsequent to SML, the losses were still coming. Then I did my next paper for 2020, where SML has started in 2020 already, right? When Baumia saw the publication, he summoned me. I was in Turkey with my wife. I had to cut short my trip. And I come for, practically that was the first or second EMT. So I walked him through the thing, again. Then he commissioned myself. Then I was in partnership with my question and co. And said, look, we can solve this problem for you. One, I don't know why government itself did not decide to solve it. So I had to now say, okay, then maybe I should take a business out of this and just do this work. Because it's not hard. It's not hard. Why should I, an individual, sit down with just 2 boys in my office? We can break this thing on an annual basis, and you who are paying people, cannot get people to sit down and break it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a fortnight basis. Okay. All right? This is what happens.
Senor?
Listen. The data we went to SML to gather, when the SML heard that the DMB had directed that we be engaged, and Mr. Sadai should contract us to do this work for them. We're even going to deploy technology to do the analysis automatically, so we won't even need any boys to sit down and do all this thing. Then all of a sudden, Ivan Seduce and Co appear. It started with what's his name, Ken Oforiata. He was sick by the time, so he wasn't at that EMT. DMB had directed that this thing be done so that we cure this problem immediately. Ken Oforiata sends a message to my partner that what is it that you and Senior want to do? No. The next minute, Mr. Adai's hands are clean. Romeo has directed something, Ken Oforiata has cancelled it without even consulting the EMT. Now, Mr. Adai is there and he's stranded. Now he has to do an analysis. That is when the whole data came. You remember that your guy at IT, he was the one commissioned to analyze the situation. There was no comparative analysis being done. The data was not being used for anything. It was then that they started seeing what we wanted to do, that they said, okay, the 1 + 1 is equal to 2, and check and see whether you have 2 or not. They will also start doing it. And you don't need any system for it. They never used that system for that analysis. They never brought that data to make meaning of even the data that was existent. And you were paying the people 24 million. Fast forward, as for our contract, they didn't, because of Ken Oforiata, and Mr. Shada told me straight in my face.
It won't happen.
That, Charlie, you guys know the thing, this is what has to be done. Maybe we can copy something from your people and see if we can use it, because Ken doesn't want anybody do anything that SML says it wants to also do. He's a pastor, he can't lie to me. This is the matter. I know where I was sitting when he told me. You understand?
Senor, I need to move
the people there themselves. I'm saying this because of what he said, talking about what Amis Adai knows that contract was unholy. Amis Adai knows that contract was technically moot. Akori knows that contract was technically moot. What's his name? Soti. He also knows. These people walk around, they are all church elders. He said, this country here, we are wicked people. This was absolute loot.
They knew.
They all knew. The current, what's the name, GRA boss, wasn't he the one who audited the thing? Didn't he come and sit down with me for us to look at the thing? We all knew. The only value that you got from SML eventually was just this arithmetic thing that I was saying you should do. And that started after they saw us trying to come into it, to come and just do that basic work. And you don't need any SML to do it. All you needed to do was very simple. You put in an auditing firm to validate because of integrity issues. One, you collect all the data from all the key data points. You put in an IT audit system to make sure that the data points that you are depending on are reliable. You put these people in, and it is a simple thing. Everybody in this room can calculate and show whether you are losing money or not losing money.
Senor,
but because Senor has said that you are losing 4 billion, it means that it is easy to make a case to start paying people 500 million cedis a year. You can explain that, but we were losing 5 billion. So if you are paying somebody 500 million, for what work done, the value of that work will be what? If you appoint an EY or a KPMG to do that work on a monthly basis, how much are you going to pay them? Maybe maximum on $200,000-$300,000 or $400,000. I mean, how much are you going to pay them?
Is there a way we could have done the contract for it to have been more beneficial, or we needn't sign this at all?
This contract did not have to be signed. There were two things here. If GRA was honest and people had their hearts for this country, and people keep your eye, you see more of these things trying to come. This SML thing, there were people in this NDC who were fighting for it to stay.
Can you name names?
I won't name anybody.
Let me name
yourself.
Let me go.
Look, all that they needed, this thing, they know they didn't need a thing. If GRA wanted to own that infrastructure, it is just off the table. Go to MSC, go to Honeywell, ask the order, strap your main pipes. It will not cost, and what I'm even giving you is actually the most expensive, one of the most expensive metering, ultrasonic metering systems I'm giving, with a higher accuracy of 0.005. Listen, that one alone self is going to be $3 million. I say if you put in another $1 million, let's say you're a businessman, put in 50% margin, maximum $6 million. How much were we paying these people? So the money we paid SML, if we paid in 3 months, GRA could have owned that infrastructure.
Okay.
But even to date, I'm telling you, GRA even doesn't know how to use the data that comes from the SML.
And that's the point that I was going to bring Azuri in, because the Azuri.
For the first time, I've spoken about the matter.
Honorable Buama here is saying that GRA hasn't complained and that the system wasn't broken. Asenyo has just explained now that they can't even use it. Do we have any records where GRA, either of old or of new, is saying that, listen, the work that SML did, we didn't really need it, and so it's been a complete waste of everybody's time and resources?
So let me give you this example. If two people have stolen.
Manasseh, he said he apologized to you for not giving you filler when you needed the filler. Today he has gone to church and he has seen God. He has seen Jesus. So journey to Damascus moment. He said he's sorry. Please forgive him.
Well, I have never held anything against him. I like his honesty to tell me that, look, I have information, but I'm conflicted, so I cannot talk to you.
Okay.
That is absolutely fine. I don't hold anything against him. Two, the example I was giving is if two thieves have been charged with conniving to steal, and then they are about to be prosecuted, and one of them says, oh, the other did not steal, or we did not steal, I don't think these words should carry any weight. GRA is as complicit as SML. So if GRA comes out to say, well, they've done some work, it doesn't make any difference. I've read what President Akufo-Addo said, and the GRA has not denied it. Mr. Buama has not denied it. That you have icons that is giving you a service, and you don't need anybody to verify. We had all of this in our story. Yet you're paying someone, you pay someone over 500 million cedis. When the KPMG report came and the president said this, you did not argue. You quietly went and then canceled the contract. GRA and some of its officials have been lying to Ghanaians that if SML is terminated, they are not going to work. The first half of 2024, SML did not work either downstream, anywhere, the ports, because President Akufo-Addo suspended the contract for audits. The board chairman of GRA, the Honorable Joe Gatti, said the first half of 2024, the GRA exceeded its target in a historic manner. So if you have a company that you claim you couldn't do anything if they were taken off, this is a GRA speaking. And let me say, some of the things they say make the GRA, hard-working GRA workers, customs officials, they make them look so stupid and incompetent. Because they are there at every port, they are there at every depot. So this is not true.
So they were doing the work and someone else was being paid?
And taking credit for it. Since June, when the OSP started, and then SML was shut down, they should tell us which revenue has been lost in the downstream sector. Which single day did people go there and they could not load because SML was not working? And with these revelations from Senor Hossi confirms some of the things insiders told us. But as investigative journalists, sometimes you bring out what your facts can speak to. So this, what he's saying confirms the masterminds behind all of these deals. And let me just address the issue that the contract was ratified. This is what the OSP said. I just want to read paragraph 147 and 148. That crucially, Reverend Owusu-Amoah, that's the Mishadai, the General Commissioner General, failed to disclose that in 2017, his predecessor had unsuccessfully thrice presented the company to PPA for prior approval, and that the company had subsequently changed its name from SML to SML. The PPA promptly set up an investigative team the next day with the object of investigating the circumstances under which the contracts were procured without prior approval of the PPA and the authoring of the report to assist the PPA board to process GRA's request. The least said about the PPA's investigation, the better. The OSP's investigation shows that the PPA investigation was shallow and incomplete, and the resultant report was outrightly misleading in part. So if you want to ratify an agreement that had problems, you state all the facts.
Okay.
That this had come ABC, that didn't happen.
Okay.
And there appears to be some collusion of a sort in this stage when you read what has happened.
Okay.
So
we're working on wrapping up the conversation. I just have one question for all of you, and I'm going to ask starting from you. Based on everything you know and you dug up, are there other people who ought to be on the OSP's list for prosecution who are not? Is there anybody there that has to be removed? Is there anybody there who you think should possibly get DP, double punishment?
Where?
On the list of the OSP.
The first part of the question I missed.
So I want to know if there's anybody else you found who was culpable, who's not been named, and who you think should be prosecuted. And whether those who are being prosecuted are there people whose names you think should be removed. And are you generally satisfied with the approach the OSP is using? And that's a question I'm asking all my guests. And so you all have a 2-minute bite, then we take a break.
I don't have evidence to say that those on the list, any of them should be taken out. I did not encounter some of them in my investigation, but the OSP did.
Okay.
The addition should be Evans Eduse, who is behind SML. I fail to understand why this was a collusion between the private and public sector. In Jeddah, the NDC administration jailed its own MP Abuga Pele together with a businessman.
Philip Asibit.
So I don't see how those on the side of SML should be left out. So I would want to see the special prosecutor expand his tentacles and then reach out to more people.
What is Umaru?
I've not come to you, Lankema.
Your
wife has sent me a message. He said I should calm you down, that your BP will come. But he said she has an antidote, so come home. Manasseh, please wrap up for me.
Two, this issue about the GRA started and they haven't done this for a long time. The KPMG managing partner who perhaps supervised the auditing of he was at KPMG when the auditing was done. And then KPMG at the time, I don't know for now, but was working for the GRA and auditing the GRA at the same time. So some CSOs even raised conflict of interest issues. The report from KPMG had very misleading conclusions that sought to somehow whitewash the deal. And the person who was at KPMG is now heading GRA. If he takes pages 157 and 158 of the KPMG report and he reads it and he sits at the GRA and still thinks that SML should continue, then I would say he is not fit to hold that position. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manasseh Azuri. Franklin Kujo, are you impressed with the OSP's list? Are there people you think should be brought? How soon should the OSP go to court? Are there people whose names should be removed?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I think with immediate effect, they should just go ahead and bring everybody to book. Everybody who had a role to play in it should be brought to book. So for me, I think it's a fine list. It's a fine list.
So the approach is good. We should proceed. Alhaji Nusaf Hussaini, Martin Kpebu told me on Eyewitness News that the OSP has decided to close the stables after the horses bolted. And for him, the special prosecutor should not have sat and watched acquiesce, I think is the word he used, he called him the prized jewel, who is Ken Oforiatta, to run away to America. Then he says he's going to court and prosecute him in absentia. I don't know. Same question to you, but in addition of this particular clause that I just gave.
Well, first of all, I think that this is an investigative process. Listening to Senor Jose, I think that clearly there are many things that we have to look at in this SMD deal. And I'm very thrilled, apart from Honorable Boateng, who did not come clear. It seems everybody on the panel agrees that the deal, the SMD deal, is a stinky deal. I mean, and so clearly those who are associated with it ought to be brought to justice. Now, I think that Martin people got it wrong. When the Kenneth Urata was traveling out of this country, he had not been on on bail by the special prosecutor. He had not been on inquiry bail, and so the Kenneth Urata did not need to request for permission to travel from the OSP. He knew where to go for permission.
He said that he said NDC people were saying that go and close the airport, don't let people go out. And I said to him that, but the man had not been found, culpable in anything. There was no docket built against him. So what would be the basis for stopping him? He said no. SP should have stood at the airport, said that Ken Onkobebia, because it's not something that started even under NDC. The prosecution started the investigation started way before NDC came in. So he thought that there's so much now, but there's little to be done because the man at the center of it all is not around. But I made the point to him that you can conduct a trial in absentia. Yeah, but I don't know.
What I'm saying is that and I don't want going back to repeat this thing. And when we were going to do the Special Prosecutor Act 595, and our committee then, Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, traveled to various jurisdictions to look at best practices. And I can tell you that in Singapore, a former Minister of State ran away from the country to Malta and stayed there for close to 36 years. Time does not run against the commission of a crime. When he came back, he was prosecuted and jailed, and he died in jail. Time doesn't run against the commission of a crime. Okay. And so, yes, I still say that the special prosecutor had no authority, no basis to go and stand guard at the airport to prevent Kenneth Urata from moving away. Now, Kenneth Urata knew that he was subject to investigations and exploited the system and got the former chief of staff to give him permission. He also wrote to the current chief of staff, who actually did not have permission to do anything because his government was not in office. And so he knew clearly. But there is grand collusion here. And Senor, you said that you didn't see how SOTI could be connected to it.
No, I didn't say so. I'm saying no. I'm not saying you cannot connect SOTI. SOTI is CEO.
No, because you said that you say it's an old man employee, and so you shouldn't go for him.
I didn't say don't go for him. I said that we are focusing on the light person in the matter. The real face of SML is not SOTI.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, said don't go for anybody. I'm just saying that we are focusing on SOTI as if SOTI is the SML. I'm just telling you, just in case you don't know, SOTI is not SML. Okay. SML is Ivan Seduse.
But
Amin said don't go for him too.
Senor.
I'm saying you are chasing the cat when the lion is there.
Senor, don't you see that your analysis of the situation clearly gave them an insight into how much money they could make? You don't see it.
I agree.
You don't.
The constitution of
SML to tell that sector in the form of revenue assurance was just to milk the gap. You see it, Senor.
I agree.
You are smart enough to see.
Maybe he was being charitable. He was being charitable.
I think Alhaji has misunderstood me.
Yeah.
Alhaji,
the impression you gave us was that the SOTI, even if he's culpable, he's not as culpable as the real owner. And so, and you say he's an old man worker, and that you should just let him be.
Absolutely.
The church goer.
And I'm suggesting that SOTI is not a part of it. No.
Yeah. Okay. So
let me tell you how culpable SOTI is. SOTI was sitting at the DRA as an advisor. So all these reports that brought all of us in, he was privy to it. So if Edusi as a businessman takes him from as an insider and then they create this thing, I mean, he cannot take himself out. He's also a church elder, just for the record.
I'll come to you.
But Alaji, I am not saying Soti may not be culpable.
Okay.
I'm saying that we have the advocacy and the discussions around.
Senor, I'm not saying that you said that he's not culpable. I'm just saying that that's how you came across to me.
Okay.
We are talking on the platform.
Okay, very well.
I'm sure you came across to many people. I mean, in the way I understood you.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just drawing your attention.
All I've been saying is that there's a lion in the house, and we are spending time only talking about the cat.
When you are going for a
part of
lion,
the meat.
A lion is a dangerous animal.
I'm saying that the lion can eat you, the human being, and the meat.
Are you?
But the cat has just taken the meat, and we are focusing on the cat.
Okay.
We must add the lion, which is the one that will eat us up.
Okay. Senor and Alaji Nusafuseni and Senor, I have not seen a white lion before, but I'm sure the lion you are referencing wears white. And that's what I'm going to come to. Does you have been a minister before at two different portfolios, Ministry for Lands, Ministry for Roads. If someone at Ghana Roads and Highways Authority engages in a deal, why should you, Alhaji Yunus Hussein, as Minister for Roads, be culpable? If the boss at Lands Commission went to sign a deal, why should you, Yunus Hussein, be culpable? So I want us to connect to the Yunus Ken Foriata in there, yeah.
So because there are agencies under me, you must go back and look at the Constitution.
Okay.
That as minister, I'm responsible for policy. Even if GRA is an independent state institution, the minister has policy, superiority. The minister owns the policy. And this SM deal is an implementation of a policy.
Which is supposed to be done by an agency.
It is the minister's policy. It's the government policy. Somebody must own a policy. So as a minister, you must always know that the administrative implementation of that policy is within the remit of GRA. But that policy directive has to come from somewhere.
Okay.
And so that policy, that's what I read the OSP report carefully. That is why the OSP is saying that policy, the enabler, the promoter, the facilitator of that policy was Ken Foriata.
So he was complicit, not just because the buck stops with him as policy lead, but because of his direct involvement. That's what Manasseh said to me, that there were some letters that he authored himself or had his, is it PA? The cabinet.
Umar, after listening to Senor Jose, you must be left in no doubt that this was a premeditated activity.
The element of menstruation is in there.
It's there.
No, but you see,
even though you ask yourself,
I'll come to
even though you ask yourself, why did he countermand?
This man,
Senor Inusa is the one on the line.
Senor, if not, you ask yourself, why did Oforiata countermand the
EMT
vice president?
Because he's powerful. Anyway, let me conclude with Obama. Are you not conflicted into
I beg you, just one small comment. Just some small filler. So after EMT had done this, 4 months, 5 months down the line, Bamia meets me and we're neighbors. So neighbor. Yeah, so what we have, I said, are we saving? Are we be able to recover the money? I said, oh yes, and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know you've not been told. But then the minister pulled the plug on the project. He said, which minister? I said, oh, you know the minister. He said, Ken? I said, yes. Then he just said,
oh,
that was it. That's when I knew that Baomiano, the government, a very nice on count.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
head of economic.
The man says all the sensible things. He knows all the sensible things, but nobody wanted. He didn't have the power to do a thing. When Ken was the king of the town, the only chance I think maybe Bamia started getting a little influence was when became minister. I'm telling you, go to EMT, you give a directive. Agency, you call emergency EMT
and the
because
minister
of this thing.
And bring you back from Dubai.
Enuguan was seated there. Maxwell, what's the name? No, the first deputy governor was seated there. They brought the full house. And they gave a directive.
You can reverse it.
White man, do you say prayers? Do you quote Bible?
Honorable, are you not conflicted because you were at GRA? So are you defending GRA? Are you defending SML?
Not at all.
You are a member of parliament now. You are a member of the MPP. You put sign this thing.
This man met me in front of a Fidelity Bank and said, "Senor China, for no one." This man, he said, "Join you, open your map and change your map." I'm here.
Senor,
you know
things that were said to you in confidence.
This is not confidence matter. This is not confidence matter.
In front of
an official report was made.
Senor Hosi.
So me, I'm waiting for you to change his map.
Senor Hosi, you are my brother.
Okay.
When someone says to you something in private, you don't come.
It's not private. He can't come and change his mafia because he's a politician. He met me at Fidelity Bank front when he was running for MP. He was still at GRA.
How long
he
ago?
Cannot change his mouth about what he knows about this transaction.
Which year?
He's now sworn allegiance to the Constitution and the people of Ghana. He must defend the cause of this country at any point in time, irrespective of the interests of his party. So I expect you to show and speak your true thoughts.
The elephant is there. Please speak to me. Ignore Senor. Pretend you didn't have that meeting in Fidelity.
Oh, we met at Fidelity.
Oh, okay. Any, do you stick to it or you would want to depart because now you have gathered more filler?
Oh no, I think first and foremost, I have always tried to situate this in the context of GRA as an entity, an organization, trying to do business with stakeholders or companies to promote its set objectives. And of course, if GRA does anything that later turns out to be that they were not done following due process and the rest, that is why investigations are carried out and we are where we are today. My final conclusion on this matter is that the intention of GRA to use other companies to assist GRA in meeting its objectives, including raising revenue, is not the way we are trying to stipulate this one, that SML contract was signed with only one objective, to milk from it. If that was the import of some people, the organization itself and the workers of GRA, the support that GRA gave to SML, the customs officers, the technical staff of
GRA
was genuine.
That is true.
So
even the people knew that the work was cosmetic. And the old people, you knew that all the...
Manasseh said that a lot of the GRA workers were because they've been doing the work. Someone else taking the credit for it. In fact, let me ask you a direct question. What was your role at GRA?
I ended as a board secretary.
Okay. At the time,
He's a good man.
That's why I'm going to ask him a question and I want him to answer honestly. In your heart of hearts,
yes.
At the time they brought SML to come and do the work, based on your speaking with the workers and your knowledge of everything, did you think you needed SML?
I think GRA, like Senor said, this whole thing, I've been with Senor from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a real need to plug that loophole.
Okay.
But as to how we were going to do it,
that's a different matter.
Was when the conversation began. Senor has done all the narration. So there was a problem GRA needed to fix.
Okay. Okay.
And one way was what SML came in. But how SML came in and how they were doing it and the cost implications of it were value for money. That is a different.
So that's the question I've been asking all morning, whether genuinely we needed an SML in the room.
We needed.
So we needed
that somebody. We needed the support.
So it is how SML did the work and how much we paid.
Exactly.
That is questionable.
Exactly.
Okay.
That is why people are raising concerns.
Okay.
Because as Senor said, if to one person it may cost $1 million, to another person it may cost $5 million, and to another person the businessman is bringing you $100 million, and you, the organization, you don't have what it takes to do value for money audit to situate it that this is not worth it. That is a different conversation to make. So the policy thing,
Ilusa was saying.
No, Franklin Kuju talked about what's the policy guide, and this is what should run us into, because in this current government, we will end another 4 years, and similar incidents will be happening.
It is happening. It's not that similar incident will be happening. It is happening as I speak.
So we should solve this. We should solve this once and for all, guided by some of these experiences in the past. That government officials should seek the national interest first. And we should not sell this country to business people or to individuals for political consideration, only to take what is worth for this country. And that is what, and at the end of the day, the burden is on the OSP to charge them, let them defend themselves, and let's see what happens at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. Let me bring the messages you have also been sending us from your homes and your. You have spoken. Senor, you've spoken more than everybody on this show today. Even me, the host, is spoken more.
I was giving education because people don't know the transaction.
Okay, now speak.
You know, let me put this thing in proper context. Was there a revenue leakage? There was a massive revenue leakage. Not in question. Should it have been flagged? It definitely had to be flagged. Was SML solution the solution? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Was there value for money for it? Absolutely again not.
Okay.
Were they aware that it was not value for money and that it was not the right solution?
Yes.
In the beginning, I can defer to the policy because they don't know inside.
Okay.
Because I'm the one telling you are losing money. You've not come to ask me.
But after
and you go and meet somebody and somebody lies to you and you believe whatever lie he gave you. And maybe you gave him contract. But when we came back, that engagement we were having between the EMT second directive and then when Evans Eduse came to interfere with the directive that Emishara wanted to, at that point, there was clear revelation that what SML was doing was not giving the value that was required.
Okay.
So why didn't you take action? Your action you took was to yank me out, which is okay, no problem. But now that you know what value you have to do, it is the money you should continue paying for it.
Okay. Very well. So I was going to take a break when you said you had to clear this. Inus Hussaini said he also wants to clear something you have just cleared, so that we take a break. Allow you, sir.
So Sanyo,
yes.
Umar, Sanyo has made it abundantly clear that there was absolutely no need for an independent third party to help GRA in revenue assurance.
That one is in error. You can't.
And that the leakages he discovered and exposed could be solved and covered by the GRA themselves if they understood the problem.
Okay.
Listen to him carefully.
Yes.
And that's what he has said.
Very well. Made the point well. Let me bring in the messages you have been sending through. So you've been watching us in your homes, listening to us in your cars, on radio 97. Gentlemen, minority caucus, go out. You've been listening to us in your cars on 97.3 CTF and watching us on your TV screens on Channel 1 TV and also on your mobile tablets, and you've been sending us messages. Let me bring some of those messages. Papa BCU sends a message and he says, it's lovely news to hear that the SML deal is no more. Fact is, only Ken Oforiatta, Mr. White, and so-called God-fearing man understands the so-called revenue assurance, and it brought us nothing but rather hardship. He should come down and face the law. This one says, good morning. The president's termination of the SML's contract couldn't... Senor Jose, Obashin Studio MA. So the president's termination of the SML's contract couldn't have come at a better time than this. This is a clear definition of create, loot, and share. That's Jones at the Boiler. Ken Oforiatta issue has kept so long, and the OSP should use the alternatives to prosecute him. Since the very day Ken Oforiatta kept saying through his lawyers that he is unwell, there's some of us started saying this man will not avail himself unless force is applied. That's Cornelius from Sunyani. This one is okay. I think I brought a lot of your messages already. I'll take a break. This is the big issue on 97.3 CTFM and on Channel 1 TV. I'm Umaru Sanda Amadu. One more messages. Ken Oforiatta has caused the country harm. I hesitated a bit with the allegation, but listening to Senor Jose, I believe he doesn't even deserve to live in jail. True. Franklin Kujo, your good friend, Nana Akufo-Addo must never be forgiven. Posterity must never favor him. So these are more messages that you've been sending, this one particularly from our Twitter platform or X platform. This one says, I'm very glad this morning. I love it when I listen to Mr. Senyo Hosi. He's a rare gem. Send your messages to the platform. I'm going to give you the number. 020-444-7033. So 020-444-7033. That's the WhatsApp number. Send your messages or go on Twitter, now known as X, and mention me at Umaru Sanda. Use the hashtag #TheBigIssue and we'll read your messages. We'll be back with more. Please stay.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244-644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
This November, something amazing is coming to Accra. Are you a farmer with fresh produce? Are you into fish farming, poultry, or livestock? Then get ready for the November edition of the AgriFair 2025. Yes, AgriFair 2025. It's happening on Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November. It's happening at the A4 Southern Children's Park, and it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. It's the ultimate weekend marketplace. From fruits and vegetables to poultry, livestock, and fish to agri-inputs and processing machinery, all at unbeatable farm gate prices. Whether you're selling or buying, this is your chance to connect, trade, and grow. Enjoy the freshest farm produce, sizzling kebabs, and a vibrant marketplace atmosphere all in one space. Register now and secure your spot. Call 0558-973-973 for more information. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, and Gersel.
We made it 1, 2, 3, and now 4. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a night of rhythm, culture, and pure Ghanaian energy. Inchin Band is back. And this time, it's bigger, louder, and more electrifying than ever. It's the Inchin Experience, the Avivi edition. Happening live on the 14th of November 2025 at the National Theatre. Showtime 8 o'clock p.m. sharp. Featuring Lucky Mesa, Famiye, Na Ajaman, AEC, Lexi the Comic, Kwame Bringer, and TM Music. It's going to be a night of unforgettable music, laughter, and culture, all on one stage. Tickets going for 150 Ghana cedis. You can dial *920*126*2# to grab your tickets now. For more enquiries or information, call 0503-127-463 or 0541-690-409. This year's concert is mainly powered by FVV Foods, Ghana's fastest growing food brand, championing local produce and authentic homegrown flavors. Proudly sponsored by Center Point Mall, Verna Water, Boat, Zomo. Media partners. Don't be left out of this year's amazing experience. Come and let's have fun together. Inchin Experience, Ghana's rhythm, our legacy. Inchin Experience. Feel the music.
Technology has helped various caregivers and professionals in the circles of autism to enhance their skills.
It will enhance their social interaction through virtual meetings.
The cost of the equipment needs to be made affordable, cheaper, so that people could use it and access it.
A lot of people can use, like we are able to use shortcode, which is that once you have average network to even send SMS, it is able to answer certain questions.
People at the rural end should not be left out, because that would actually reduce this rural-urban migration.
Welcome to EdTech Monday. This is a platform for education, technology discussions, and we have a focus on policymakers, entrepreneurs, and educational ecosystem. EdTech Monday is a platform created by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with MEST Africa to bring EdTech entrepreneurs, policy stakeholders, and government together to deliberate on important issues within EdTech.
Watch EdTech Mondays on Mondays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with MEST Africa, only on Channel 1 TV.
Yeah, welcome back. This is a big issue on Channel 1 TV and on 97.3 City FM. I'm Umaru Sanda. It's a weekly discussion show on Saturdays where we bring you the big stories of the week, do the analysis with people who have interest and those who don't have interest. All of them, the interests are declared, and we'll have conversations. And you'll be given historical perspectives, deep analysis, and I'll do the moderation. So we've discussed the SML deal. We had Manasseh Azuri-Awuni join us. He's the journalist who did the investigation beginning this particular issue where the OSP had to take over. Franklin Kujo is still on with us on Zoom, and Alhaji Nusa Hussaini, former MP for Tamale Central, is also with us on Zoom. In studio, I have the Member of Parliament for Efia, and I have the, I don't even know how to describe Senyo Hosi, but he's the CEO of Clive and Tove, or Tove. What do you do?
Clive and Tove.
Ah, okay. Clive and Tove, what do you do?
It's a multi-sector investment firm. We have, it's our holding company.
We'll look for
so we are in agric, we are in finance fund management, we are into insurance, we have VIBA.
Okay.
We also do technology, a lot of technology these days.
Look for a government
supporting the petroleum downstream sector as well. So.
Look for a government contract.
And I'm looking for some.
Fantastic. Now, the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology Innovation has come under intense public scrutiny